We are learning more about a drowning on Pewaukee Lake. It happened last night when a man on a UTV went right through the ice.
It was one of at least 3 ice-related incidents first responders were called to over the weekend. Christina Van Zels is in the newsroom with the warning from those first responders.
Yeah, we know a 61-year-old man drowned last night. First responders say he was on a UTV and they couldn't see him when they got on the scene. But firefighters aren't necessarily blaming the warmer weather, rather something you can't detect from the surface.
All ice is never completely safe.
It's a somber message Sunday after a 61-year-old man drowned in Pewaukee Lake Saturday. Lake Country Fire and Rescue Deputy Chief Jeremy Wachtel says the man was on a UTV that broke through the ice. First responders say people tried to help, but the water was too deep.
They were using large pieces of wood to try to reach the victim from a long ways away.
Wachtel reminds people if you're in a similar situation, don't get in the water to help. That's dangerous. If you're going on the ice at all, he says wear a flotation device, don't go alone, and have a way to call for help. And watch out for natural springs.
The ice was actually relatively thick in most of the area, but the immediate area where the victim and the UTV had gone through was relatively thin.
While the weather was warmer, Wachtel says the natural springs are likely to blame.
It's natural groundwater that's coming up into the lakes, and that is typically warmer than the rest of the lake.
It was one of 3 ice rescues Saturday. At Wind Lake, Norway Fire Department says 3 men were rescued after their UTV went through the ice. One of those men was taken to the hospital. Officials say that was the 5th vehicle to go through the ice this winter, also blaming the natural springs.
It's nothing you can see from the surface, and until something happens or you put a foot through or things like that, you're not going to know that it's thin, but it's 6-8 inches everywhere else.
At Big Muskego Lake, first responders say another person on an ATV fell into open water, but the water was shallow. That person is okay.
Firefighters say it takes several days of temperatures in the 40s or 50s for ice to start to melt, but do remind people that no ice is ever completely safe. Reporting live in the newsroom, Christina Van Zels, FOX 6 News.
And we may be getting those warm temperatures soon. Christina, did the first responders talk about talking to the locals before you go out on any lake? Say, hey, what do I need to know here? What's the danger spots? Are there springs like you mentioned?
Well, those springs, Ted, are hard to tell from the surface, like they said, but one tip they had is if you're going on the ice, stay away from the shore area because ice is typically thinner in those spots.
Christina Van Zels in the newsroom. Thank you.